What up, y'all? It's your boy JD Dugan back at it. We're going to get into 5 takeaways from week 12 of NFL action, starting with Brock Purdy deserves a lot more credit for the 49ers' success after seeing how drastically different they looked with him on the sidelines and Brandon Allen under center this past weekend. People love to credit that Shanahan offense and their scheme and all the weapons, but without Purdy on the field, that scheme and those weapons didn't look like the type of offense that puts fear into an opponent. The Packers went out and slapped them. They beat them 38-10. It was a straight up beat down, and you really can sit there and appreciate when they don't have Purdy, what he brings to the table with his legs. He's a playmaker. He gets out in the bootlegs. He gets outside the pocket. He's really nice in the RPO. Is he a superstar? No. But in big moments, can you count on Brock Purdy to be there and step up? I believe he's shown that at this point, and you can see how different they look without him. Does he have those bad games in the regular season? He had a couple 4-pick games, 3-pick games where it got ugly. Yes. That also shows that he's a confident kid. He's going to let it keep slinging even when he's struggling. So there's a double-edged sword there. I think the 49ers definitely need Brock Purdy to be contenders. Obviously, they haven't been that this year. But the moral of the story is let's give Brock Purdy his flowers a little bit, because when he's not on the field, clearly that team is lacking. And maybe some of those weapons who we've given a lot of credit to and over the years are starting to age and their game isn't quite the same. Deebo Samuel does not look like the same firework type of player who every time he touched the ball was making big time plays. George Kittle has been wearing down the tight end. The tight end position wears you down. George Kittle's been doing it for a long time. Maybe he's starting to lose a step. Still an efficient player, one of the top players in the league right now at the position. Still, no doubt about it. I believe he's third in the league in touchdown catches. So Kittle's doing his thing. But the point is, let's not sit there and act like that offense is just magic ready to go. When Brock Purdy's not there, they look like a different team. Let's give him his flowers a little bit. All right, let's follow the same theme for my second takeaway. Let's put some respect on Tua's name, because Tyreek Hill and that Dolphins offense was invisible without Tua on the field after that concussion scare. He was gone a few weeks. They disappeared. No big numbers coming out of that offense. The Mike McDaniel system all of a sudden was real quiet, and now Tua's back on the field. They've won 3 in a row after a tough competitive loss to the Bills. And this last week, in their win over the Patriots, Tua had 4 passing touchdowns and over 300 yards passing. So you're putting up 300 yards passing and 4 touchdowns. You're having a heck of a game. Not just an average QB's doing that. Let's not let the football media try to convince us Tua isn't a viable NFL starter ever again, because all of a sudden it feels like the Dolphins are, for the second year in a row, in a spot to make another run toward the playoffs. Don't get me wrong, is Tua going to outduel Mahomes or Allen in the playoffs? Probably not, but he's going to give you a chance to be there. You're going to stay in the fight and have a shot at least to make a deep playoff run. And if Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are on the field and healthy in that Mike McDaniel offense, never say never. They can put up a fight versus anybody if they get hot at the right time or break loose for a big one. So you never know. That's my second takeaway. Let's give Tua his respect. Moving along, the Lions and Chiefs proved why they're the class of the league right now. This one might sound like a little bit of a head scratcher after the Chiefs scraped out a 30-27 win over the Panthers, one of the worst teams in the league on paper. And the Lions, they slugged out a win versus the Colts 24-6 in an ugly game. Still a nice win, but it wasn't their most impressive win. But these 2 wins stand out, especially the Lions, but the Chiefs as well. They got the job done. These are the type of NFL games that teams get exposed. The teams that we think are elite, that are actually just really good, get exposed, aka the Commanders this past weekend versus the Cowboys, and the Steelers versus the Browns on Thursday night. So it's easy to get hyped up by these certain teams and these primetime matchups and this and that. It's easy in the big games, but it's when you're playing and the Steelers game was primetime and they still lost that one. But my point is, in the Commanders, that's a rivalry game. They lost that one. My point is, when you're playing those random Sunday matchups at 1 o'clock, it's not the prime time. You got the Panthers, and then likewise for the Lions, you got the Colts. Those aren't the games you get up for and you circle on the calendar. You got to go out there and handle business, and the NFL is never easy to win. The Chiefs and Lions both did that. They both hit the 10-win mark and remain the only one-loss teams in the league. So numbers speak for themselves there. It's hard to win in the NFL when you're the heavy favorite, and they got the job done. So moving along, Saquon Barkley had to get in here somewhere. Legendary performance Sunday night in LA with over 300 total yards, highlighted by 255 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns. I could go on and on about Saquon's big night. I could go on and on about the Eagles and how great they look. I could go on and on about the Giants and how dumb they look right about now. But my big takeaway from this is, wow, I mean, Saquon is a truly elite talent. It feels like he was kind of wasting his potential in that Giants offense the last few years. Really played with an older in his career Eli Manning, and then just kind of a bunch of no-name quarterbacks, if we're being real. Daniel Jones, Tyrod Taylor, all these guys who, Tommy DeVito, no disrespect to them, but all of a sudden, Saquon's in a real offense on the division rival Eagles, of course. Sorry, Giants fans. But he's playing on a superstar level, and the bigger point is when he came into the league, he was a generational type of talent at running back. He was the type of player you build an offensive around. Those who watched him at Penn State know he was an absolute freak of nature in college. One of those guys who would run a guy over one play and then just run right past him the next. He was absolutely the most electric player in college during his time in college. Every time he touched the football, you thought Saquon was going to score. So it's great to see him in the NFL reaching that potential because truly, I mean, I'm a Bears fan. I always think when I think of elite running backs, I think of like a Walter Payton type of talent who every time they touch the football could score. And Saquon, I know it's high praise to put him in a Walter Payton type of talent, type of conversation, but he's that type of Hall of Fame talent at the running back position, and he's reminding the world why. We saw that hurdle early this year that you couldn't even do that in a video game if you tried. So he's doing a lot of freaky things out there, but most importantly, it's great to see him on a championship contender, reminding the world the type of talent he is because Saquon truly is a generational type of talent at running back. Derrick Henry's right there with him as far as once-in-a-lifetime kind of guys. So two really special talents having career rejuvenations on contenders this year. That's been very fun to watch, but a lot of credit to Saquon and credit to the Eagles for making sure they get the most out of him, give him the football a ton, and keep using him because he is a special talent. All right, let's close this thing out with some Chargers talk. I'm here in SoCal. Had to shout out the Chargers. Yeah, they lost the Harbaugh Bowl to the Ravens, but my big takeaway from this one is the Chargers are just a few pieces away from being an absolute monster. On paper, this offense has not put the fear in their opponents. Lab McConkey's a nice player. J.K. Dobbins has had a good career revival, come back from some tough injuries. Gus Edwards is a very reliable running back. Will Disley's stepped up. Bozeman, Montana kid. Anybody knows me knows I got some Montana roots. Spent the last couple years up there, so shout out Will Disley and the Bozeman Hawks. That was his high school. The point being, that offense on paper, you don't look at it and go, wow, this is an elite team. Justin Herbert's been playing out of his mind. Jim Harbaugh's power football scheme wears down opponents. They limit turnovers. They keep them in games and allow that Chargers elite defense to keep them in the fight. But my point is, they're really close to being a next level, true championship type of contender. They're a few pieces away. Get them a real deal running back, a nice tight end, and maybe another key wide receiver who they can count on. Give Herbert a few more weapons, and they're going to be right there. So this year, will they compete with the Chiefs and the Bills in the playoffs? They can give them a fight, but I don't know if they win. I think Harbaugh keeps it close. I think he's a good enough coach, and I think Herbert's a good enough quarterback. Now, that being said, right now, I don't know if they're there. They'll definitely want to be the favorites. But give it a year, give it 2 years, the right weapons, let Harbaugh lay that foundation a little bit more. Give him a true running back, star running back, and a big-time tight end and a nice wide receiver. They're going to be a nightmare for opposing teams. So Nick Chubb's going to be a free agent this upcoming offseason. He feels like a great fit in that Harbaugh scheme. That's a name to keep an eye on. Moral of the story, the Chargers are close. They're not there yet. The Ravens were the superior team. The older brother got the win. What do you know? Big bro did his thing. John Harbaugh. But the point being, the Chargers are right on the cusp of being an elite level team. It feels like we're watching something special in Los Angeles with Harbaugh at the helm. So I'm excited for the future there. That'll wrap it up for my takeaways from Week 12 of the NFL. A lot more content to come soon. Your boy JD Dugan. I'm out.